Hey peeps, this is Jet Black here. I just kind of wanted to get this out here real fast before tonight's season finale for season 6 for Game of Thrones. I always like to do, like my own little predictions or guesses on stuff. And I don't know, this season seemed to really sum a lot of things up and seemed to really stay focused on different storylines and arcs that were going on without doing a lot of mixing, and it didn't feel rushed. It didn't feel like they were trying to put everybody's story into an episode. And it seems like they were okay with leaving some stories a couple of episodes behind. Like, we haven't seen Bran in about 2 episodes. We haven't seen Sam and Gilly, I think, in 2 episodes. And I'm okay with it because, they seem to focus more on 1 or 2, 3 arcs at a time without having to rush them. You get a little bit, and then it goes to another one, and then it goes back, and then it goes back. And I like that. I like how they took their time. So for me, I'm okay if we don't see some things tonight, because I feel like their story has kind of been wrapped up for now until we get into the new season where we've left off. So I wrote down a few of the main characters that we've really been focusing on. It seems like this season, if I leave anybody out, I apologize. I just really kind of came up with some of the ones that I thought have been the main focus, the main storyline. So I think as far as Arya, her story is pretty much wrapped up for this season. She is heading back home to Westeros, to Winterfell, at least to Westeros. I don't know if she knows if it's safe to get back to Winterfell or how much she knows about what's been going on or not. But unless we see her, it would probably be nothing more than her boarding the ship or stepping off of the ship onto Westeros. Other than that, we shouldn't expect to see much more of Arya. Same thing with Jaime. His story pretty much seems to be wrapped up. If we see anything, it may just be his celebration with the phrase at taking back or reclaiming Riverrun. Maybe I thought I had seen somewhere, maybe like a preview or something, him with Walter Frey, or maybe it just showed him and then went to an old scene from Walter Frey. But pretty much I don't expect to see Jaime anymore, unless it's just a snippet of him trying to return or something like that. But shouldn't see too much more of him. Same thing with Daenerys, Tyrion, her whole camp, including Yara and I can't think of his name, is her brother. Probably shouldn't see too much of them. Only thing I would imagine seeing from them is them setting sail. And it's my understanding that before they even reach Westeros, maybe hitting Dorne. I've heard some tell that may be where Varys is heading, to Dorne, to try to elicit some support and help from Dorne, which I hadn't really thought about that. Previously, from episode 8, when I saw him leaving, I felt like that may be the last that we really see of him, that something not very good was going to happen to him. So I like that ideal better. I like the ideal of him going to Dorne and trying to solicit some help. I really thought that he had said that he was going back to Westeros, but I've heard some rumors, some other people mention the fact that he may be heading to Dorne, and I like that ideal because then that brings Dorne back into the picture. Because I like Dorne. I like where they were going with Dorne. So it would be nice to see them back in and having an opportunity at some revenge as well. The Hound, probably not anything from the Hound. I believe I heard mention, or I don't know if I really caught it in the show, but he's supposed to be heading, or he may possibly be heading north, and maybe he's going to join up with the Starks and help out there, which there would be. I've come to really like the Hound. It's funny how the people you don't like manages to become that character that you like later on as the show has progressed. And then some of those that you like have become ones you don't like. And then some have just gone back and forth. You like them, then you don't like them, then you like them, and then you like them and don't like them, whatever. So the Hound is one of those, I'm really glad to see back in the show, and would really be glad. I like the interaction when he was with Arya, and so he should be fun. He's always a lot of fun to me. Sam and Gilly, I kind of don't think that we'll see much of their storyline. Again, I kind of feel like it's all leading up to them arriving at the place where we can expect to see them next season. So for Sam and Gilly, they are heading towards the Citadel so that he can begin his training. I don't know. There's a part of me that kind of wouldn't mind, especially with the way that he's now left his home and having to bring Gilly with him. Maybe he'll go back to Winterfell or head towards Winterfell, which I wouldn't mind seeing that reunion. But again, I don't really expect to see much with Sam and Gilly other than their arrival at wherever their story is going to be, their arc is going to be next season. So that leaves us with Jon, Sansa at Winterfell. We do know from the previews that there is going to be some interaction with Sansa and Littlefinger. Maybe this doesn't really bode well for Jon. I feel like he may be getting pushed outmaneuvered by Littlefinger. He's always had a plan. We know he's always had a plan. And we always know that he has wanted power. And we may see that final push of Sansa playing the game now, having conquered or ready to play the game, I guess you could say. So maybe it's Sansa's time, and I don't know. There was a time that I wanted to see her learn to play the game, especially back when she was at home with her aunt. It would have been nice, but I guess now that she's back with Jon, I don't want to see her become that kind of person. But the Starks need somebody that's kind of person. That being nice, that being noble, has cost lives, a lot of lives. So with them, I'm sure that we'll get some cliffhanger of what's gonna to be for Sansa and Littlefinger. Brienne and Pod, I didn't mention them, but I don't know. All we may see is just their arrival. Their arrival back at Winterfell. It would be kind of nice, funny to see a Brienne Tormund interaction in there somewhere. Let's see, who do I have next? Of course, we know from the previews there's going to be some Onion Melisandre drama, and Melisandre is another one of those, of course, that we didn't like at the beginning when her character was first introduced, but over time we've come to really like her. I mean, in the end, she was the one that saved Jon. She's the one who brought Jon back. I feel like we've seen her lose her way. We've seen her lose her faith. We have seen Jon kind of losing his way and his faith. And I think right now the both of them need each other to make themselves back what they were, believers. They need to believe again. And I just feel like Jon, he's lost his heart. And Melisandre has lost her heart. She has lost her way. What she did for what she thought was right. It turns out that it wasn't so right. But I think that there's a lot of potential still in Melisandre. So I hope whatever happens tonight, it bodes well for them. And I like the Onion Knight. I like Sir Davos a lot. And he's been one who's never lost his way. He has been the backbone of this whole struggle and fight and this push to get to Winterfell. So I hope whatever happens, they are able to come to terms. So that leaves us with where I think the stories will mostly play. I'd like to see something with Bran. I'm sure that they are going to hit or touch on Bran, how huge it will be. I don't think it's going to be the big divulge that we want to see. Everybody's ready for the R plus L equals J. I said that theory way long ago when the show first started. And a lot of people are now onto that theory. I really do believe that we'll end up having some... I really hope it's the story that Martin is saying. And I hope that the show doesn't do different than what he's doing, just to appease the masses, the fans, the crowds, fan fiction, whatever. I hope that at least those two things, that story coincides with each other. I hope that it's not a completely different story from Martin and a completely different story from the writers. I hope it's the same. So whatever the ending is, or whatever we find out about Jon and his parentage, I hope that they're both agreeable on it. So as far as Bran, I don't think we need to really see anything, because I think at this point I think the show is mostly going to focus on King's Landing. I wanted to say Knots Landing. King's Landing. And with Cersei and the Sparrow and Loras and all of that mess. And Cersei always has an ace in the hole. Cersei, if we think she looked defeated, I don't think it was a look of defeat. I think it was more a look that she was hurt. She felt betrayed by her own son, because he knew exactly what he knew that by making that declaration, that it was basically damning his mom. That he knew that. And maybe he felt it was the right thing to do across the board, but in the end, he knew what he was doing, whether he was happy with what he was doing or not. He did it. Cersei has an ace in the hole, and she is going to shock us. I've heard some say, and of course we have Tyrion saying to Daenerys how the Mad King had this wildfire all through the city, and her guy has had his little birds out. Maybe this is what they found. Maybe they found some that's stashed under the sept or wherever the Sparrow is, and she's just going to have this place blown to smithereens. The only other thing that I would be interested in seeing is Marjorie. I don't believe that Marjorie is going along with this whole thing. Marjorie also has an ace up her sleeve, and I'd like to see what's going to happen. Now, the one thing that I haven't seen, but I believe it was last season when Marjorie's grandmother, and Littlefinger returned to King's Landing, and they got together and they had this conversation, and I don't know, I have to go back and look at it, but there was something that they came up, something that they devised, and I don't recall that the show has yet revealed what they came up with, because they were in cahoots. They were up to something. They were up to no good. So I would very much like to know what that is, and are they ever going to play that story out? So that's really all that I have to say so far for the show. I'm very excited about it. I'm looking forward to it. And as always, I don't think that it will disappoint us. One thing I will say is that the season finale is never as good as like the episodes preceding them. So usually like the episode before and the one just before that are usually the better ones. To me, the ending season finale usually just wraps everything all up and then has us with our jaws dropped wondering what's going to happen next season. So don't expect a lot, but expect a good wrap up, okay? Jet Black coming at you with her Game of Thrones take from a non-reader's viewpoint. I'm no SME, no subject matter expert. I'm just calling it the way that I see it. All right. Go House Stark.